This is such an amazing time to be a horror fan right now. And to be gay, which I only happen to be two of those things. Leviticus is directed by Adrian Chiarella, and it follows these two young boys who happen to both be from very religious families, and once their queer orientation is discovered, they're forced to undergo a conversion ritual of sorts. That, once placed on them, releases some sort of spiritual demonic entity to hunt after them until they die. This entity taking the form of that whom they desire most. In this case, that happening to be each other. So just from the premise alone, and even being so obvious as to have the title Leviticus, I initially rolled my eyes at the idea of this movie and assumed that it would just be pandering and unoriginal. Man, was that a false fucking assumption, because this movie is pretty great. Yes, the metaphor isn't subtle in any regard, but I don't think that matters. While this movie isn't doing anything incredibly innovative, it just has a really solid script, and you really grow to love the relationship between these two boys. They're both flawed characters and they both make mistakes, but I feel like they're mistakes you can understand, especially considering their age and their type of upbringing and background. And once you're past all that, these actors just have genuinely amazing chemistry. You really buy that they're attracted to each other. The scenes where they're being intimate are honestly just really sweet and believable, and it just kind of feels raw. No pun intended. And because you care about these characters and obviously sympathize with their plight, since you're supposed to obviously be opposed to this whole conversion thing, you kind of know right off the bat where this movie's heart lies. So if you didn't know that it was a gay movie, like the straight man who sat next to me, whose girlfriend turned to him partway into the movie and whispered, "Did you know that this was a gay movie?" Only for him to be like, "No, I didn't." Motherfucker, the title is Leviticus. So yeah, if you don't like gay people or gay things, then maybe don't watch this movie, and also maybe kill yourself. While the score wasn't particularly memorable in this film, it never distracted me or pulled me out of the experience. Similarly, I feel like I really appreciate the framing of a lot of the cinematography in this movie, but it's not like you walk away from Leviticus thinking that it had super exceptional visuals. The look, feel, and direction of the movie perfectly suited what this was going for. It's not a crazy experimental art house film, despite the premise being so metaphorical, but again, not subtle, but also not in a way that feels like it's cramming the message down your throat. It all feels very genuine and natural. I also appreciate that they kept things kind of vague as far as how this whole spiritual process works. We know that no one can see this spiritual entity that's attacking any of the characters, unless they are the characters, so the specifics are kept short, which I find so refreshing nowadays. I feel like in movies, the filmmakers are constantly trying to over-explain the logic of their horror elements to the point where it becomes so much less terrifying. Here, you just know that there's this priest guy with tattoos who does these rituals. They never even really elaborate on his character. That kind of makes it even a little more disturbing, but I think largely because the focus is on how it serves as a metaphor for the theme. The spirit just represents hatred, whether that be hatred of yourself or the people around you who do not accept you. I don't know if I'd say this movie blew my mind necessarily, but I really did love it. I was engaged beginning to end, really felt for the characters, and it's probably one of my favorites of the year so far. I'm gonna give Leviticus a strong 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have a good one.